Hey everyone, it's Sally here, and for today's Amazix Ask Me Anything interview, I'm speaking with Peter, who is the CEO for Multiven. Hi, Peter.
How you doing, Sally? Hi, everybody.
Excellent, thanks. How are you?
Excellent. It's sunny day, it's Friday.
Good.
Can't complain.
Perfect. So maybe we can just start out with a little bit of background about yourself and your history.
Absolutely. My name is Peter Alfred-Adekeye. I'm the founder CEO of Multiven. And, I founded Multiven in 2005 in Palo Alto, California, after spending 4 or 5 years at Cisco as the technical leader for iOS, which is a software that runs majority of the world's internet networks. And before then, I ran my first startup and did a whole bunch of really cool stuff.
Wow. So Multiven's been around since 2005?
Yes, we've been around since 2005, and we're essentially a seasoned startup. We've always been in startup mode, and we've spent the better part of the last 10 years essentially creating the technology that we're looking to now deploy onto the blockchain, as well as fighting and advocating to ensure that the internet is free and fair, for everybody, so to speak.
Okay, and what is Multiven? Can we just go into a brief overview for those who don't know?
So Multiven is basically the world's first politically neutral doctor for the internet. So if you think of the internet as a patient, internet comprises of routers, switches, firewalls that connect us to all our data, all our photos, our videos, our text messages, and all that stuff. So all of it is run by software, and that software is built by companies like Cisco, like HP, like Huawei in China, and so on and so forth. And traditionally, before Multiven, if you built a network and operated a network, you had to go to the manufacturers to maintain and look after it for you. And we said, that's not scalable, and it was too expensive, and it was rigid and inflexible. So I founded Multiven in 2005 to essentially become the world's first doctor that's able to maintain the internet infrastructure, all the software that runs it, end to end, irrespective of the hardware, software, or the technologies that run it. And the reason why I said that, the reason why I created the company was because I thought to myself that ultimately, in the future, everything on Earth will ultimately have an IP address, which means everything will be connected to the internet. And it's not fair that there wasn't a politically neutral doctor to look after all this stuff. And that's it. So
wow. That sounds like a very intricate project with a lot of different facets to it. Why are you using blockchain now for the Multiven Open Marketplace?
That's a great question. So we spent the better part of the last 10 years, creating this great technology. And, to give you a quick recap, I founded Multiven in 2005, and with the sole mission of being the world's first, politically neutral doctor to look after the software that runs the internet. And to make that happen, in 2006, we created this little AI engine called MySolver, because obviously it's impossible for a human to, the scale and scope and diversity of the internet is so vast that we couldn't possibly do it ourselves. So we essentially created this AI engine called MySolver to help us to predictively and more efficiently, heal issues that the internet encounters. And then in 2007, we shortlisted about 1,000 or so internet experts, security researchers, and cryptographers, and we invited them into this private community of experts called Pinkster. And the goal of this was that Pinkster experts will help to feed knowledge into MySolver so that MySolver can learn from them and heal the internet without humans ultimately. And in 2007, we invited a whole bunch of experts. Dr. Roberts, who was the guy that is a gentleman that actually designed the ARPANET in the 60s. Tony Lee is a co-inventor of BGP4, which is the routing protocol that runs the internet backbone. He's a member of the community. And member number 62, a very, very distinguished member, was the late Hal Finney, who was the first person to run Bitcoin, was the first person to essentially help Satoshi Nakamoto fix codes, fix bugs in Bitcoin code, who I actually believe is Satoshi Nakamoto. Hal was a member as well, and
that's really interesting. So it does make sense then for you to kind of move this onto the blockchain, just given all of the history and what you explained.
Exactly. So we said in 2007, Pinkster was essentially the world's first decentralized pool of experts, because we had experts in 55 countries, and they were all working on demand, doing stuff, to help make the internet work better. So from our perspective, we spent the better part of the last 10 years securing position as the world's first and thus far only provider of software integrity and cyber defense services to maintain the integrity of the internet infrastructure. So now that we've secured the internet infrastructure, we're now going to the second layer on top, the blockchain layer. So blockchain sits on top of the internet infrastructure, and all the nodes that run, all the protocols and the technology, they're all connected to each other, speak through, through the internet to speak to each other. And from our perspective, because we've managed to be able to secure the infrastructure that is the internet, we're now moving up to the blockchain layer to secure that and help to ensure that all the dApps that run on top of blockchain networks are safe and secure as well.
Okay, so now we know why you're using blockchain and how that works with your program and your company. But what is the purpose of the Multiven token then on the platform?
So what we're looking to create is, the Multiven Open Marketplace is essentially the world's first marketplace for the $3-4 trillion IT products and services market. So today, if you wanted to buy a router or a laptop, you go to Amazon or you go to HP, and if you knocked on HP's door directly, they'll say, "Hey, get out of here. Sally, you want to buy one router or one switch?" No, go to our distributors. And the more hops between you and HP, the more you have to pay for that box. So we essentially said to ourselves, we want to enable the world to be able to buy and sell hardware, software, and services on a peer-to-peer basis, solely powered by smart contracts without humans whatsoever. So that's what we're looking to do with the Multiven Open Marketplace. And then the Multicoin token, which is it's got a ticker, symbol of MTC. The Multicoin is the sole medium of exchange in this community, in this platform. And both buyers and sellers in the community will need to use a Multicoin token to trade.
So it really does have a true utility use then within the Multiven platform.
It's actually a hybrid token. It's both a utility token as well as a medium of exchange.
Okay. And let's talk about your token sale, because that is coming up soon. So can you tell us the dates, the price, the max supply of your token?
Yes, so max supply of tokens is 2 billion tokens. It's already actually, the ICO is actually live. We didn't do a pre-sale or pre-ICO because, we're strong believers in fairness and democracy, when it comes to this market thing. So we started a public sale about a month and a half ago with very, no pre-sale, no roadshow beforehand. So we're just beginning to actually hit the roads now to present it to the community of the crypto, fans out there. And max supply is 2 billion coins. At this point in time, we're selling roughly 5% of our max supply and releasing that into the marketplace so that we can begin to get token distribution into place so that everybody can begin to understand that there's a better way to buy and sell computers and smartphones and servers on the internet. Well, on the blockchain now, not the internet infrastructure. It's not e-commerce anymore; it's b-commerce. We call it blockchain commerce. So max supply is 2 billion. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
And what is the price of each token?
Token is essentially 0.00087 Ether per token.
Okay.
Which is roughly 50 cents, per token right now.
Okay, perfect. And how long is the ICO running for? Do you have a date that it's going to end?
ICO actually officially ends on the 9th of October. So we have we have a long way to go. But the good news is that round one goes on for another 25, 26 days. In round one, contributors will get an extra 25% bonus. And then we have round two, where you get 20% bonus, round 3, 15%, and round 4, 0% bonus. So obviously, it's important that supporters of our project, come on board as quickly as possible so they can begin to enjoy the maximum bonus.
So you're rewarding early investors for jumping on board?
Absolutely.
Okay. And according to the token allocation, there's a vesting schedule, or how many will be circulated after the ICO?
So what we're looking to do is we releasing roughly 5% of our max supply right now into the ecosystem, and then obviously the minute you purchase a token right now, you're actually seeing it's credited to you right away, but it's unlocked 2 weeks after the ICO is completed, and obviously we're saying October, but if we do hit our hard cap before then, we'll obviously stop the ICO and get on with it. And sorry, the question was.
So I guess how many tokens will be circulating, or is there a vesting schedule where they'll be locked up? Is there anything like that?
Exactly. So for the team, for advisors, for evangelists, and so on and so forth, we have a vesting cycle for 24 months. So what's allocated to the team will vest equally on a monthly basis, from the end of ICO over 24 months. So there's no we're all committed to this long term, and obviously those that purchase the tokens, there's no vesting cycle for those people.
So you said 24 months though for the team and the okay.
Yes.
Okay, great. And we did kind of touch on this a little bit earlier, but this token is not deemed a security. It is a utility token.
It is, yes. The multi-coin is a utility token. It's not a security at all in any way, shape, or form.
Okay, and what will happen to the remaining unsold tokens if there are any?
Unsold tokens, if there are any, will be burned. We don't intend to keep them in any way, shape, or form.
Okay, and why do you have the contributions capped per investor?
That's a great question. So one of the key things we like to think is that, the whole reason why Satoshi invented, Bitcoin and blockchain is because he wanted to democratize the way, we communicate and connect and trade, and exchange on a peer-to-peer basis. And we're of the firm belief that, having a pre-sale and a roadshow, and we're firmly against the concept of pre-selling and centralizing tokens in the hands of a handful of large investors, and then denying the masses, tokens in the public sale. So we don't want a scenario where, we have customers around the world like Orange and Telefonica and all the telcos, Verizon, Rogers in Canada. This large, network operators, they spend, billions every year on capex and opex and on buying computers and servers and so on and so forth. So it's not very complex for them to buy up, 50, 100 million, dollars worth of our tokens and just burn them. And Amazon could buy all of our tokens and burn them because essentially the Multiven open marketplace is Amazon meets eBay meets Alibaba on the blockchain. So we don't want a scenario where one big large player buys all the tokens and chokes and denies fuel for the marketplace. So that's why we put a cap on it.
That makes sense. And it's interesting because I don't hear this too often. I mean, most ICOs do have pre-sales. They give a lot to big investors. So it's interesting that you're kind of taking a different approach and making sure it's fair and equal for everybody to get a chance to get the tokens.
That's how Satoshi Nakamoto will do it.
Mm-hmm. What will happen if for some reason you don't reach your soft cap?
Well, we have a low-end minimum cap of 10 million, euros as our low target. We do foresee that we'll, without a doubt, obviously hit that. Just to recap, Multiven is actually a very successful business as it is right now. We've never taken a penny in venture capital in 12 years, so that we remain independent. And because of that, we've been profitable since 2006. So we don't necessarily need the funds from the ICO to actually implement the marketplace and our projects. But, obviously it comes in handy. And the key thing we're doing right now is that it's the beginning of the roadshow to communicate the projects to the world and to begin to distribute tokens, because it's the medium of exchange. You need it to trade on the marketplace. And it's the next frontier, blockchain commerce. Okay,
so you're not really that concerned about not reaching the soft cap, it sounds like?
Not at all.
Okay, perfect. And for the sale, can U.S. residents participate? Is there a KYC process?
Yes, we have a strong KYC process in place. Sadly, as much as we'd love to, but we at this point in time, U.S. citizens cannot participate in the ICO because we'd like to keep things, aligned with global, commitments. The SEC is still struggling with the concept of ICOs, and from our perspective, we want to limit exposure of investors that may be U.S. citizens, to any issues with the SEC.
Yeah, it's a little bit safer that way for the time being, I think, until there's some final decisions around those things. So that makes sense. When will this coin be on exchanges?
We're looking to actually get the coins on exchanges as soon as possible. And we've actually reached out. A number of our advisors are also close friends and of exchange owners, and they've also said they're ready to get us listed on Binance and Kraken and so on and so forth as soon as we conclude the ICO, so to speak. So
you do have a lot of connections to help push that process along then.
Absolutely. As well as the fact that, a subset of our project is actually to protect Bitcoin networks, against cyber attacks. And as a result of that, the crypto exchanges as well will benefit from our cyber defense product, which is coming up soon. So it's complementary to the ecosystem. I think if you think about it, if you think of blockchain world being a new planet, we are essentially the Army, Navy, and Air Force, as well as the medical firefighters for this new ecosystem to keep it safe and sound air.
It sounds like a much needed product, and very, very interesting. I haven't come across anything like this before. So what about the B Fence project? Because there's something coming up with that. Can you just elaborate on that a little?
So we call it BFense, as in blockchain defense or Bitcoin defense. And what we're looking to do is part of the core product of our ICO is the Multiven Open Marketplace. But one of the cool things we're doing in the process is that we're taking some of the transaction fees from that, and because we have this vast technology and expertise on cyber defense, we're probably the only company in the world that's able to provide politically neutral cyber defense around the world. So whether you are in Asia, in the West, in the North or South of the world, we, leveraging our pool of expertise over the last 10 years, we are now looking to deploy those experts that, Harfin was one of them, onto the blockchain to cement and secure the future of Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is the reserve currency for the entire cryptocurrency ecosystem. So we have an expression, save Bitcoin, save the world. So we're looking to save and secure the nodes that were Bitcoin, protocol and software around the world, and prevent them from being centralized, which will put an end to this entire dream. So the BFense project is basically Multiven. We're launching a live monitoring of all Bitcoin nodes, as well as the routers that connect them to other Bitcoin nodes around the world. So the alpha version will be out in about 4 weeks, and it will be the first time ever that there's live monitoring of nodes, and it's an active cyber defense to protect them and secure their future, so to speak. And that's why it's important that we expect and look forward to support from the community, because if the more people trade on the marketplace, the more we have funds to compensate the experts that will be protecting Bitcoin nodes against cyber attacks.
That sounds like a pretty big project, and that's exciting that it's coming up in 4 weeks, the alpha launch. So we'll definitely be looking for that. And Peter, thanks so much for chatting today and sharing these details. This is amazing. It sounds like a really very much needed project in the space. And we'll definitely be keeping an eye out for the token sale, and I will have a link in the description so you guys can go to the site and check out Multiven and check out all the details for their ICO. And thanks again.
Thank you very much, Sally. Have a nice weekend.
Thank you. Bye.
Ciao.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.